Alright, I'm finally getting around to talking about the reason that Kevin Garnett retired after 21 seasons. If you've been following my channel for almost 2 years, I have been talking about how there's a Teen Wolf type theme that they keep doing in the media. It's super connected to the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Anyway, a short little recap. So clear back in 2015 at the NBA All-Star Week, that just so happened to go from February 13th to February 15th. That is the same days as the ancient Roman festival called Lupercalia, where they celebrate and sacrifice a wolf. And during that NBA All-Star Week, on the Friday night, the very first day of Lupercalia, Andrew Wiggins won the MVP of the Rising Star Challenge. Andrew Wiggins was 19 years old at the time. He played for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He was a teen wolf, so fitting that he would do that during Lupercalia. The very next night, another teen wolf, Zach LaVine, won the slam dunk contest, and he also did the Michael Jordan Space Jam dunk. And then just days later, Kevin Garnett came back to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And of course, Kevin Garnett, the original Teen Wolf. And in the movie Teen Wolf, there's all kinds of Nebraska Cornhusker stuff in the background of the movie. There's a calendar, there's a license plate. The movie's not set, it doesn't take place in anywhere in Nebraska. Nothing to do with Nebraska. If you look up the movie, it wasn't filmed there, it wasn't set there. It doesn't make any sense why they'd have Nebraska stuff all throughout the background. He's even in the Civil War play. Think about Abraham Lincoln, Lincoln, Nebraska. And also just think about all of the media stories that we've got. We've got all these civil rights, Civil War type media stories. Even Freddie Gray, he was arrested on the same day that the Civil War began, and then he died on the same day the first death of the Civil War was. There's all kinds of interesting stuff in regards to Lincoln and Teen Wolf. So just wanted to make a little short thing there. So anyway, Kevin Garnett then decided to retire after 21 seasons. And I'll get into that in a little bit, but I just wanted to show a funny article that we just got on September 29th as well. We had an article about the Cleveland Cavaliers coach Tyronn Lue and inviting Kevin Garnett to be on his staff. Well, go figure, because Tyronn Lue was a former Nebraska Cornhusker. It's just absolutely super fitting to all of the stuff I've talked about. Even Nebraska's coach last year. Nebraska got their coach Mike Riley. Mike Riley in gematria equals 53. He was born in 1953. Tyronn Lue, born on 5/3. And in regards to Mike Riley, he's mostly known for coaching the Oregon State Beavers. And if you watch the movie Teen Wolf, the mascot in that movie is the Beavers, and it is based off of the Oregon State Beavers. And then after this NBA All-Star game, or All-Star Week in 2015, Nebraska, they start their new season with their new coach originally from Oregon State. Anyway, if you write out Garnett in Jewish gematria, Garnett equals 333. Just like if you write out University of Nebraska Lincoln. I forgot to put the of in there, but University of Nebraska Lincoln equals 333. We also got the story about Tyronn Lue asking him to join the staff on September 29th, the day that leaves 93 days in the year. If you write out Minnesota Timberwolves, it equals 93. Kevin Garnett's even super connected to the numbers 12 and 21, which is why he retires after 21 seasons as well. And once again, I will bring this all back up, but the reason I want to mention that in regards to 93, Kevin Garnett's best friend supposedly was Malik Sealy, and he died the night of Kevin Garnett's birthday, or the very next day or whatever, going into that. So they went and celebrated Kevin Garnett's birthday, and then he died on May 20th. And just look at it. This guy was an NBA player for multiple years, yet they have his college picture on Wikipedia here wearing number 21. He was born on 2/1. And Malik Sealy is even named that because his dad was a former bodyguard for Malcolm X. And Malcolm X was Malik El Shabazz. If you write out Malik El Shabazz in Gematria, it equals 56, just like Kevin Garnett. And if you write out Malcolm X equals 93. Well, I forgot an L in there. Also, Martin Luther King Jr. equals 93. They both died at the age of 39, the reflection of 93. Remember, Minnesota Timberwolves also equals 93. And then Kevin Garnett gets asked to join the Cleveland Cavaliers on the day that leaves 93 days in the year. Kevin Garnett was also born on the same day as Malcolm X, on May 19th. So he's super tied into all of this. Black Lives Matter equals 56 in Gematria. The word wolf equals 56 in Gematria. In the movie, the character's name is Scott Howard. Scott Howard also equals, it's going to say 47, but with the S exception, he also equals 56. So I guess I just wanted to point out that Kevin Garnett is super connected to Black Lives Matter, the civil rights type stuff that's in the media constantly. There's also a Teen Wolf stuff going on. More proof of the Teen Wolf stuff is just today I made a post about the Michigan Wolverines left tackle got hurt. And so, right, it's the Michigan Wolverines. His name equals 64, just like Michigan. The guy who replaced him, his name even equals 64. But look at this. He got injured on the game on October 1st. It was 213 days after his birthday. February 13th is the first day of Lupercalia. So talk about sacrificing the wolf. And of course, Michigan fits in with all of these civil rights stuff as well. Michigan equals 64. The big way, also, just like civil rights, the Civil Rights Act was passed in the year 64 when Lyndon B. Johnson was the president. If you write his name out, it equals 64. If he also died at the age of 64. So anyway, back to some of the Nebraska stuff, and then I swear I will tell you about the 21 and 12 stuff. I noticed on Nebraska last year that Nebraska has a player named Kevin Maurice, and he wears number 55. And it's really interesting because Kevin Garnett's real name is Kevin Maurice Garnett. And Minneapolis equals 55, Timberwolves equals 55, Target Center, where the Timberwolves play, equals 55. If you write out the word 56, it equals 55. And I've talked a lot about the number 56 and how it's connected to all kinds of stuff. ISIS equals 56, Paris, France equals 56, Osama bin Laden, Adolf Hitler, Saddam Hussein, they all equal 56. But in regards to Abraham Lincoln, Nebraska, Abraham Lincoln died at the age of 56 in the year 65. He also died in April, the only month that equals 56. The word president also equals 56. So just kind of interesting, I guess, that Nebraska's number 55 even has a very similar name to Kevin Garnett. Also in regards to Nebraska, so in Gematria, Nebraska equals 35, 44, 53, and 71 because of the S and K exception. But anyway, every team that Kevin Garnett's played for is connected to Nebraska. Celtics equal 35 and 71, just like Nebraska. Brooklyn Nets equal 53, just like Nebraska. And remember, Tyronn Lue was born on 5-3. Nebraska equals 53. He asked Kevin Garnett to join the Cavs 150 days after his birthday. Lincoln, Nebraska equals 150 in Gematria. Also, look this year. Look when the only two times that the Timberwolves play the Cleveland Cavaliers. February 1st, 2-1, and also Valentine's Day, the second day of Lupercalia, the Wolf Festival. Them are the only two times that they play this year. Kevin Garnett just retires after 21 seasons. And then, of course, Malik Sealy, number 21, also born on 2-1. When Kevin Garnett came to the Minnesota Timberwolves his rookie year, that was also Flip Saunders' first year of head coaching the Timberwolves. Flip Saunders became the coach on the 21st game that season. The year before that season, the Timberwolves only won 21 games and they finished 12th in the West. Kevin Garnett even wore the number 21. He stayed in Minnesota for 12 seasons before leaving to Boston. And then he comes back just before his 21st season and then retires after his 21st season. But also, Flip Saunders dies, right? And in regards to Tyronn Lue, think about Andrew Wiggins, the Teen Wolf who won the Rising Star Challenge MVP. He was originally a Cleveland Cavalier and got traded to the Timberwolves in the Kevin Love trade. But Andrew Wiggins is also 21 years old right now. Kevin Garnett retires. He's born on 2/23, which is the same day that Flip Saunders was born. And if you go from 2/23 to the day that Kevin Garnett announced his retirement, a span of 213 days. Fitting for the Teen Wolf stuff. Lupercalia. Flip Saunders even announced that he had cancer on August 11th, which is the 223rd day of the year. And the opening game last year that was a tribute to him, the Timberwolves beat the Lakers and the total score was 223 points. The word Masonic. Kevin Garnett then also retires 223 days after the first day of Lupercalia even. The word Masonic equals 223. The Synagogue of Satan equals 223. It's a very, very special number. Just after Flip Saunders dies, a month later, or not even a month later, we had the Paris attacks that happened on Friday the 13th that equals 223. Last year, the first day of Lupercalia was even on Friday the 13th. So anyway, Kevin Garnett retires after 21 seasons. He also does it 1 month, 2 days before the anniversary of the death of Flip Saunders. Some other 21s and 12s I didn't throw in here. The season before Garnett and Flip Saunders came to the Wolves, they even finished their last game against the Spurs that equals 21. Think about Tim Duncan wearing number 21. They got knocked out of the playoffs this year 21 days before the NBA Finals. They have the U for the logo, U is the 21st letter. Flip Saunders was even originally fired by the Timberwolves on February 12th, 2/1/2 of 2005, and then he came back. Kevin Garnett's full name and also Flip Saunders' full name both equal 216. 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. Believe it or not, Nebraska even became ranked this year for the first time in 666 days. Look at that. The last time Nebraska ranked was November 23rd, 2014. They became ranked on September 18th this year, 666 days later. The word prophecy equals 666 in Jewish gematria. Think about it in regards to Kevin Garnett and Flip Saunders, the Synagogue of Satan, 666. The word prophecy, the small way, equals 52, just like Cornhuskers. And they even became ranked 1 month, 27 days after the death of Sam Foltz, which is super interesting. Nebraska's in its 127th season. If you go from Kevin Garnett's birthday to the day that he retired, it's also a span of 127 days. Also 4 months, 4 days, which is interesting because Nebraska, with the S exception, equals 44 in their 127th season. I mean, there's so much interrelated stuff. Nebraska even plays Minnesota this year. Think about Kevin Garnett, but they play Minnesota 112 days after the death of Sam Foltz, and they play them on 11/12, which reminds me a lot of 112. Sam Foltz equals 112 in gematria. He died 1 month and 12 days before Nebraska's first game. He was born on January 21st, 21/1, the reflection of 112. He even played his final game 211 days before his death. And at the time Nebraska became ranked in their schedule, the only ranked teams they had to play was number 2 and number 11. Ohio State also equals 112 in gematria. Earlier I realized if you write out University of Michigan, it equals 112 as well. And this year, when Ohio State and Michigan play each other, it will be the 112th time they play each other. Wolverines in gematria also equals 52, just like Cornhuskers, just like prophecy. Another interesting thing in regards to 112 is that Chicago Bulls equals 112. And if you watch the playlist I'll leave in the description, I talk a whole lot about how Dwayne Wade going to the Chicago Bulls and his cousin supposedly getting murdered is super connected in all of these interrelated stories. Even talked about LSU. Les Miles was going into the season with 112 wins. He got his last win in Houston that equals 112 last year. And then it was LSU's 112th season. But Chicago Bulls equals 112 in Gematria. And if you write out werewolf in Gematria, it equals 1966 in Jewish Gematria. 1966 was the 21st season of the NBA. And also, it was the first season of the Chicago Bulls. Bulls also equal 66. And the small way, they equal 12 and 21. Also, this year when the Bulls play the Timberwolves, it's on Valentine's Day, the second day of Lupercalia, but it's also the 112th day of the NBA season. There's all kinds of parallels to Valentine's and Michael Jordan. That's why Michael Jordan wore the number 45. He even wore the number 12 one time on Valentine's Day of 1990. It was their 49th game of the season. He scored 49 points. Kevin Garnett retires on 9/23, the big number connected to Philadelphia last year. But in regards to Michael Jordan, he wore number 23 for 9 seasons before retiring and then coming back and wearing the number 45. He wore the number 45 for 22 games, and on the 23rd game he switched back to number 23. That same year that Zach LaVine, the Teen Wolf, won the slam dunk contest doing the Michael Jordan Space Jam dunk, Denzel Valentine, the Michigan State player, hit the game winner on Valentine's Day, and now he plays for the Chicago Bulls. And I believe he wears number 45 even. Also that same day, UCLA's best player of the game was Kevin Looney, and UCLA is super connected into it all because Zach LaVine went to UCLA, Russell Westbrook won the All-Star Game MVP that year, he went to UCLA, Andrew Wiggins won the Rising Star Challenge, and he was traded to the Timberwolves for Kevin Love, who went to UCLA. Last year, Nebraska played UCLA in the Foster Farms Bowl, even though Nebraska shouldn't even have got a bowl game. And I mean, Valentine's Day, there's so much going on with the Chicago Bulls and Valentine's Day type stuff. They even got rid of Derrick Rose. I mean, come on. Michael Jordan even wore the number 9 on the Dream Team, so 9 and 23 on the movie Space Jam. When they go back to get his uniform, he even has it on the wall, the 9 and the 23 right next to each other. The NBA All-Star Week this year even begins on his birthday. His 54th birthday, the word love equals 54. Kevin Garnett even played his last high school basketball season in Chicago, which is interesting. He got in a fight, supposedly, or he wasn't really in it, but he was one of 3 students arrested for second-degree lynching. Reminds me a lot of the Allen Iverson story. Allen Iverson equals 56 as well, super connected to the number 56. He wore the number 3 that equals 56. The bowling alley that he got arrested at or whatever equals 56. Bowling alley equals 56. All kinds of stuff with Allen Iverson and 56. Kevin Garnett also even came back to the Timberwolves, and his first game back was on the 56th day of the year last year, 2/25. He was traded back for Thaddeus Young, who wore number 21 for the Philadelphia 76ers. Thaddeus Young equals 56. But I mean, just look at this. So when Garnett was 12 years old, his mother married his stepfather and they moved to South Carolina. Like, why is that even in there, you know? When he was 12 years old, then he grows up and he wears number 21 for 12 seasons, retires after his 21 seasons. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And, you know, I haven't figured it out completely what's exactly going on with it, but I know there is a moon-type theme going on, and I left a link in one of these blog posts, and I'll find it and I'll leave it in the description, but it talks about how the Jews identify with the moon because the moon goes away and then it comes back. kind of like their race or whatever. And it's interesting because I've been talking about this moon theme since the death of Prince, who's been super connected. Think about Prince and think about Minnesota, think about Kevin Garnett, think about Teen Wolf and just werewolves in general. You become a werewolf on the night of a full moon. Prince even died on the night of a full moon. On the Simpsons episode where they kill him off with Neil Armstrong, the first guy to walk on the moon. Moon equals 57. Prince died at the age of 57. And I'm almost positive we got the death of this Israeli Prime Minister President guy, Shimon Peres. I'm telling you, it has something to do with Michael Jackson. And think about Michael Jackson, the Moonwalker, Dirty Diana, Diana the goddess of the moon. This guy's name is, what was his name? Shimon Peres. I mean, just reminds you of Michael Jackson. Shimon. He dies at age 93. Michael Jackson wore the X outfit in the 93 Super Bowl, and then Beyonce wore that same outfit this year. All types of tributes, you know. And like I said, Malcolm X 93, Martin Luther King Jr. 93, Minnesota Timberwolves 93, Michael Jackson was the king, Whitney Houston was the queen, Prince was the prince. I mean, there's something super interrelated and connected, and I think that's a lot to do with the Teen Wolf theme, is it has something to do with the moon, because you become a werewolf on the night of a full moon. And you know, I possibly could be wrong, but that's exactly what it reminds me of. I even listened to Google Translate to see how that name was even pronounced. It even sounds a lot like Shimon. He even dies 57 days after his birthday, like the word moon. If you go from the day that Prince died to the day that he died, a span of 5 months, 7 days. That was also the day that he died, September 28th, was also the same day last year that we got the 4th blood moon of the tetrad. If you write out September 28th, it equals 105, blood moon equals 105, Zionism equals 105, Masonry 105, Dirty Diana 105. The word moon also equals 21 the small way, just like Saturn. And this guy died 2 months, 1 day before the 69th anniversary of Israel being recognized. So all kinds of 21 stuff. If you write out 21, it equals 141, just like World War III. That guy's name, Shimon Peres, equals 141 and 69, just like World War III. Benjamin Netanyahu equals 69. It's the 69th anniversary of Israel being recognized. Israel created out of World War. You know, in regards to Tyronn Lue, asking him to be on the Cleveland Cavaliers staff, Cleveland Cavaliers equals 69. Maybe that's part of the joke. So, you know, who knows? I don't have it all figured out, but there's something to do with Teen Wolf and how it connects to the moon, and how it connects to the Jews and Saturn. It also connects to Nebraska. You know, also in regards to Prince and the festival of Lupercalia, supposedly the festival of Lupercalia is to celebrate the she-wolf who suckled Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome. And they supposedly founded Rome in the year 421 BC. And Prince died on 421, or you could even read it as 21/4, a lot like 214, Valentine's Day. Shimon Peres was even born on the 214th day of the year. That leaves 151 days in the year. Valentine's Day equals 151. Valentine's the second day of Lupercalia. Lupercalia is also known as the Ides of February. That's the day that it begins on, the Ides of February. Think about Julius Caesar and the Ides of March. Ides of March even equals 56. And Julius Caesar died in the year 44 BC. Lupercalia equals 44. Begins on the 44th day of the year. Nebraska equals 44. This guy was also the Pope who supposedly ended the festival of Lupercalia. And he was the 49th Pope. I'm telling you, the number 49 is also connected to Valentine's Day. 227, February 27th, is also the same as Valentine's Day on the Julian calendar. Also, 4-9 is the 99th day of the year. And just think about that in regards to Flip Saunders. Flip Saunders died 99 days before February 1st, 2-1. And Flip Saunders, his name equals 99. His full name, Philip Daniel Saunders, the small way, equals 99. But this guy also dies on November 19th, which has been very special in the last couple years. That's the day that King Charles I was born. There's been all types of foreshadowing to King Charles. If Queen Elizabeth dies, then Prince Charles will become King Charles. Pope Francis even gave a speech on Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address lectern last year when he was in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, that comes from the book of Revelation. Revelation equals 49. The Gettysburg Address was given on November 19th as well. This guy's name in Gematria also equals 102. He died 102 days before his birthday, whatever year it was, 87th birthday, I believe. United States of America equals 102. I just talked about this in the last video. The World Trade Center attack supposedly lasted 102 minutes. Al-Qaeda in Jewish Gematria equals 102. So, whatever, I'm going to leave it there. I know there's something super connected to the moon, Teen Wolf, all this civil rights stuff that's going on in the media. It's all interrelated, but I'm trying to figure out what exactly they're trying to do with it. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll leave a bunch of links in the description. Have a good one.